Hello, Dr. Milton. Hi, how are you doing? I've decided to make a paper on cultural shock. So I've made some few points on the screen. So I may be referring to that. So hope you don't mind. This is a paper I wrote on cultural shock. I found it very intriguing. Cultural shock is an experience a person may have when one moves to a cultural environment which is completely different from his own. It is a personal disorientation a person may feel or experience in an unfamiliar way of life due to the immigration to a new country, new environment, and a movement between two social environments. It's simply put, it's a transition, simple transition to another life. Some of the common problems of cultural shock include the information gathering, language barrier, food, authenticity, generation gap, technology gap, interdependence, homesickness, regret, boredom. There are many more. There is no true way to entirely prevent a cultural shock, as individuals in a society are personally affected by cultural contrasts. There are four phases of it, or there are different four types of it. Honeymoon. During this period, the differences between the old and the new culture are seem to be romantic light. For example, in moving to a new country, an individual might love the new food, love to go out, explore new places. They associate with nationals who speak their language, who are polite to foreigners. I felt this the same way when I first came to US. It was very different experience. But unfortunately, this period is very short and it ends soon. Next comes is the negotiation stage. After some time, after the honeymoon stage, differences between the old and the new culture become apparent, and it's a contrasting experience. So one feels to start very anxious about his or her ways things in life is going on. Excitement may eventually gradually drop down. Unpleasant feelings may start come up. Frustration or anger starts up to build, and he starts to perceive everything in a strange and one's own way. Every experience for every different individual is different. So and language barrier starts, cultural barrier starts having starts in differences in public hygiene, traffic safety, food accessibility, quality may heighten, and the sense of disconnection from the surroundings may arise. In case of us, like students who are studying abroad, some develop additional symptoms of loneliness and ultimately affect their lifestyle as a whole due to strain of living in a different country from that of their parent country or parenthood. International students like us feel very anxious and miss our mothers, fathers, and family. Uh, you feel the pressure from the family, maybe because of family conflicts or monetary aspects. So we try to distance a lot. As patterns of speech and logic are different, a special emphasis is put on rhetoric. The next phase is the adjustment phase. After some time, like around after a year, one grows accustomed to the new culture and he is routine into that. Um, One knows what to expect in most situations, what to do, how to behave, how to talk, and how to this thing. No longer feels all that new because already you're used to it. It's been a year. The other things, the important things which here are you feel normal. You blend in. One starts to develop problem solving skills for dealing with the culture and begins to accept the culture's way as a positive attitude. If you have crossed this stage, I have crossed this stage, it's a good thing. If you don't, then some or many people go back to their countries because they can't handle it. The culture begins to make sense. Negative reactions, responses to culture are reduced. The next phase is the adaptation stage. In the mastery stage, individuals are able to participate fully, comfortably in the host culture. You blend in with the nationals here, you go out with them, hang out with them, try to know more about them, and that makes you able to blend in smooth. Mastery does not mean total conversations. People often keep many traits from their earlier culture, such as accent, the food recipes, languages, It is often referred to as bicultural stage. You have the mixture of two cultures, the one you were brought up and the one you are living right now in. I want to address another issue called reverse cultural shock. When I went back to India in December, I really had a reverse cultural shock. Everything had changed, and it was already 1.5 years, and there were so many new changes, differences. So many new things had come up, like the traffic rules had changed. There were new buildings, the new neighbors. People were there was something new in the market everywhere I go. So I was like, oh my god, I had missed so much about these things. So it's very usual to have these results from a psychosomatic, I can't pronounce that, the psychological consequences of readjustment process to the primary culture. This happens when the people who have lived abroad come back or re-entered the original culture, exhibit towards the re-entrant, and inevitable of the two are encapsulated in the following. Reverse cultural shock is generally made up of two parts, that is idealization and expectation. Um, that is, idealization is when an extended period of time is spent abroad. We focus on the good from our past. Of course, it's very hard to leave the memories of the past, so we try to cling onto those and miss those things. My parents have changed their house, and it was pretty different when I entered the house, and it was like, this is not the house when I left. Complete reconstruction, and this is a perfect example for idealization. Secondly, once removed from our family setting and placed in a foreign one, we incorrectly assume that our previous world has not changed. We expect things to remain the same exact way, but it's always different. Once you move away, once you come out of the timeline, of course the timeline would be changed. When you go back, things wouldn't be the same as they were supposed to be, or at least the way you have would have imagined. Flashpoint has to occur. Shock. Cultural shock is subcategory of a more universal construct called transition shock. Transition shock is a state of loss of disorientation predicted by a change in one's familiar environment that requires adjustment. There are many symptoms of transition shock, including being cheated, feeling alone, feeling disgusted, rejected, feeling of impotence, loss of self-esteem, sense of doubt, a heightened sense of fear, alertness, loss of old family and friends and surroundings, uh, loss of partying, hangouts, team outings, or friends outing. You feel injured, you feel disconnected, confused, contaminated, and have unpleasant consequences. So, on this note, I really liked doing a paper on this cultural shock because this is my first hand experience of what I've gone through, and I thought no better topic would have been better as a first choice. Thank you, Dr. Milton. This was a great opportunity. Hope we do this in the future too. Bye. Have a good night.